Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk about something a little bit different because I saw a news article about something that went down a couple days ago, and it's funny but sad at the same time, so I want to talk about it's a scam that took place here in Canada. But before we get into that, a couple news things. So courtesy of PokeBeach, a lot of the Team Rocket Pokemon were announced, not the SIRs or IRs, but there is apparently going to be a Team Rocket's Moltres EX. So maybe we end up getting a SIR, Moltres EX. I think that could be interesting. And then also, Simplified Chinese is getting a set called Fearless Terastal. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I sometimes get haters in the comments saying that I don't actually talk about the cards and anything like that. I just point them out and blah, blah, blah. I really don't go in depth. Today, we're going to talk about this because this is interesting and also it's just a pet peeve of mine. And I'm going to take you guys to Mandarin school here for a couple minutes. So sometimes, and if you're a native Mandarin speaker, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but I feel pretty confident what I'm about to say. So sometimes in Chinese, actually, we should start with this. In Mandarin, if you guys are interested, a lot of the words make sense. For example, in English, all our words are just arbitrary, but in Mandarin, for example, volcano. Volcano is Hoshan, which means fire mountain, right? So it just makes sense how some of the words flow, like how they name things. But sometimes in Mandarin Chinese, they'll just try and use words in their language to make it sound like an English word. For example, Canada, the country Canada, is Janada. So it's fairly close. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. Same thing with like Singapore is Xinjiapo. So it's close. Whereas for other things, again, like volcano or the United States is a good example. It's Megwo, which means beautiful country. A little bit ironic for some people, but yeah. So sometimes they'll name it after things that make sense. Sometimes they don't. With Pokemon, Baokumeng, it's kind of close to the English translation, and they do that for some Pokemon, right? So, for example, Pikachu, and this is a pet peeve of mine. In the characters for Pikachu, it's Pika. The first two are Pika, skin, and then card. It's not really relevant, but Pika. The last character, you'd think it would be Chu, right? Pikachu. No, they go Pikachu. 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 Which if you say it fast, it kind of sounds like it, but there's so many characters they could have chosen to make it perfect, but they didn't. But anyways, I thought it was funny because when you go to this Arcanine card, which looks interesting, I don't think it's anything too crazy, but you'd think, well, maybe they do something like Arcanine or Arcanung, like try and make it sound like a Pokemon name in English. No, they call it Fengsugo, which roughly translates to wind fast dog. So fast wind dog or, wind velocity dog, however you want to read the translation of it. I just think it's funny how for some Pokemon, it just seems arbitrary which ones they choose and which ones they don't. Again, if you guys are a native speaker and maybe you know why they do that for some specific ones, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. Now you guys can't hate on me because I talk about some of the cards sometimes. So I first saw this article on Decerto, and I think, well, it actually might have been on the Pokemon Investing subreddit. Man arrested after using 10K in counterfeit cash to buy Pokemon cards. And I saw that this was in Canada, apparently in Vancouver, but CTV put up an article, and I thought Victoria Police, which I thought was weird, because Victoria's on the island, Vancouver Island, whereas Vancouver's still on the mainland. So I don't really know exactly what's going on here, and I didn't read too in depth, but it is funny. Basically, this guy bought a lot of cards off this lady. Using the CTV one's probably easier here. It's shorter and more condensed. So this man who I think his name, or at least the username he was using on Facebook, is Love Deep Dylan. And guys, I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. But anyways, the person's name is Love Deep Dylan, apparently. He bought $1,500 worth of cards from a woman, and this is where the Victoria Police received their first complaint back in March, I believe March 19th. And that might be in the Decerto article when they talk about the dates. Maybe not. Anyways, I think it was middle of March they got the first complaint. And, oh yeah, March 19th, it's right there. Anyways, the guy bought $1,500 worth of cards off this lady. The lady didn't realize until after that the currency was fake. And they actually set up a sting because this guy wanted to buy another $2,700 worth of cards from the same lady. From the same... oh my God. Like, guys, if you scam someone for 4 figures... Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like that the lady wasn't gonna use the money for anything. She was just gonna use it for like food or groceries and not actually put it in the bank or go get checked. Like, some people are just so stupid. Like, you could have got away with it if you just didn't go back. But anyways, they set up a sting. They caught the guy with $10,200 in fake currency, and I guess there's charges and investigation ongoing. You guys that live in Canada or know anything about Canada, this probably nothing's going to happen to this guy. Our justice system is just royally fucked right now. But I wanted to at least try and add a little bit of value in this video, and then I'll talk about what I think about everything at the end of this. If you are ever dealing with Canadian money, guys, for example, a $100 bill, and I don't know how well this is going to show up, but if you look at a $100 bill here, you'll see the numbers, right? If you see the numbers here, if you run your finger across them, once you hit the number, it should feel different than this part on the side here. It should feel a little bit raised and textured. So if you ever grab a bill and these numbers aren't textured and slightly raised, and it takes a little bit of practice to feel it, but it's noticeable, it's there. If that's not raised, that's a bad sign. Also, if you guys look in this kind of strip here, I'm not sure if that's gonna show up on camera, but there should be numbers in these, and it will say the exact same number as how much the bill is worth. So it's $100. The only numbers you should see in here are ones and zeros. You'll never see like 20 or 50 or something like that. If that's off, that's a bad sign as well. So if you're ever dealing with cash, look for those things. But if you're doing a big deal like this, guys, honestly, Canada, the US, it really doesn't matter. First of all, do it in a good location. Like, go to a bank. That's probably the best place to do it. There's going to be cameras. You know, there's going to be people watching. Mall too, I guess, but it's not as secure, I would imagine. And then outside that, like, you can also film. Like, strap a GoPro to your chest if you're doing a big deal, especially if it's people you don't know. So I've done fairly large deals now with people that I trust, and you know, I don't worry about it too much, even if they pay me in cash. Again, I hate being paid in cash. Just because for the most part, I'm going to be claiming even cash deals just because that money goes back into my bank account normally, and then I'm using it to buy stuff. So I'm not trying to, you know, fleece the system. Some people are. And that would be one thing. Like, if you guys are ever selling a big deal and they want to pay in cash, like, to me, that's kind of a warning sign, especially, you know, for something big. If they've never worked with you before, most people would kind of want to have a paper trail of what they paid, and just evidence in case something goes wrong, right? So if someone wants to pay in cash, I would always be weary about that, especially if it's a large amount of money. If it's a smaller amount, it's not as important. But again, like, just make sure you're recording, do it in a good location, be careful, and trust no one, right? We've gotten to a point in society where some people are just too trusting, they're too lax, even here in Canada. And especially over the past 5 years, again, not to get political, but you guys that live here, you know what's happened over the past decade. If you guys have any more tips that you want to add for people if they're doing large cash transactions in person, leave them in the comments down below. I'm sure it'll help out somebody. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.